Deepak Ahir and I welcome to all on behalf of KK Wagh Secondary School and Junior College Saraswati Nagar Nasik. Today we are going to discuss a lesson from 12th standard and the name of the lesson is The Pop and the Anthem. The lesson is written by O. Henry. The full name of O. Henry is William Sidney Potter, who is born in 1862 and died in 1910. William Sidney Potter is an American novelist and writer, and he is known as his pet name O. Henry. He is a voracious reader from his childhood and he has started a humorous weekly also. The name of his humorous weekly is The Rolling Stone, and when he felt in a Rolling Stone, he started a weekly and he started a post in Houston Post. He also worked a columnist, a cartoonist and a reporter also. The story The Pop and Anthem is one of the well-known stories of O. Henry. In this story, O. Henry focused on a concept. The well-known concept of O. Henry is the smile and the tears. This concept implies his twisted way of writing and thoughts and ending in almost every story. In this story, The Pop and the Anthem, the name of the main character is Soapy. He has a criminal background. He makes different plans to re-enter in the prison because he has no shelter in outside. That's why he again and again make different attempts to re-enter in the prison or jail. And this story is ending in very unexpected way. Here in this story, The Pop and the Anthem, O. Henry depicted a different attempts of Soapy to re-enter in the prison. And finally he arrested in a very humorous manner. If we think about The Pop and the Anthem, the story tells about the freedom and confinement. Initially, Soapy feels that there is a freedom in a prison, but in actual there were not the freedom in a jail. And when he realizes that actual freedom is there not in the jail, but it is outside of the jail in a society where the people lives, at that time he got arrested. And that's why always we can say that the story ends with in a very unexpected way and in a very humorous manner.
Soapy left his bench and strolled out of the square and across the level of sea of asphalt where Broadway and Fifth Avenue flow together. Up Broadway he turned and stopped at a luxurious cafe. Soapy had confidence in himself from the lowest button of his vest upward. He was shaven and his coat was trim and his neat black bow had been presented to him by a lady missionary on Thanksgiving Day. If only he could reach a table in the restaurant unsuspected, success would be his. But as Soapy set foot inside the restaurant door, the head waiter's eye fell upon his tattered trousers and decadent shoes. Strong and ready hands turned him about, conveyed him in silence and haste to the sidewalk and averted to ignoble fate of the menaced Maillard. Soapy turned off Broadway. It seemed that his route to the coveted island was not to be an easy one. Some other way of entering the limbo must be devised. At a corner of 6th Avenue, electric lights and cunningly displayed wares behind plate glass made a shop window attractive. Soppy took a stone and dashed it through the glass. People came running round the corner, a policeman in the lead. Soppy stood still with his hands in his pocket and smiled at the sight of brass button. Where is the man that done that? Don't you think that I might have had something to do with it? Said Soppy with a friendly voice as one greets good fortune. The policeman saw a man halfway down the block running to catch a car. With drawn club, he joined in the pursuit. Soppy, with disgust in his heart, drifted along, twice unsuccessful. On the opposite side of a street was a restaurant of no great pretensions. It catered to large appetites and modest purses. Its crockery and atmosphere were thick, its soup and napery thin. Into this place Soppy betook himself without challenge. At a table he sat and consumed beefsteak, flapjacks, donuts and pie. And then he told the waiter the fact that the minutest coin and himself were total strangers. Now get busy and call a cop, and don't keep a gentleman waiting. No cop for you, said the waiter, with a voice like butter cakes and an eye like the cherry in the Manhattan cocktail. Hey, con? Neatly upon his left ear on the callous pavement, two waiters pitched Soppy. He was in a state of panic, and when he came upon another policeman lounging grandly in front of a glittering theatre, he caught at the immediate straw of a disorderly conduct. On the sidewalk, Soppy began to yell drunken gibberish at the top of his harsh voice. He danced, howled, raved and otherwise disturbed the skies. The policeman merely thrilled his club, turned his back to Soppy and remarked to a citizen. Disconsolate, Soppy stopped his unavailing racket. Would never a policeman lay hands on him? In a cigar store, he saw a well-dressed man lighting a cigar at the swinging light. He had set his silk umbrella by the door on entering. Soppy stepped inside, grabbed the umbrella and sauntered off with it slowly. The man at the cigar light followed hastily. My umbrella, he said sternly. Oh, is it? Sneered Soapy, adding insult to pretty larceny. Well, why don't you call a policeman? I took it. Your umbrella? Why don't you call a cop? There stands one on the corner. The umbrella owner slowed his steps. Soapy did likewise with the premonition that luck would again run against him. The policeman eyed at the two curiously. At length, Soapy reached one of the avenues to the east where the glitter and turmoil was but faint. He dragged himself towards Madison Square, for the homing instinct survives even when the home is a park bench. But on an unusually quiet corner, Soapy came to a standstill. Here was an old church, quaint and rambling and gabled. Through one violet-stained window a soft light glowed, where no doubt the organist loitered over the keys. Making sure of his mastery of the coming Sabbath anthem, for there drifted out to Soapy's ears sweet music that caught and held him transfixed against the convolutions of the iron fence. The conjunction of Soapy's receptive state of mind and the influences about the old church brought a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. He viewed with rising horror and pit into which he had tumbled. The degraded days, unworthy desires, dead hopes, wrecked faculties and base motives that made up his existence. And also in a moment, his heart responded thrillingly to his strange mood. A strong impulse moved him to battle with his desperate fact. He would pull himself out of the mire and would make a man of himself again. Those solemn but sweet organ notes had set up a revolution in him. Tomorrow he would go into the roaring downtown district and find work. Soapy felt a hand laid on arm. He looked weakly around into the impassive face of a policeman. What are you doing here? Asked the officer. Nothing, said Soapy. Then come along, said the policeman. 3 months on the Ireland, said the magistrate in the police court the next morning.
Soapy faces the irony of the fate the moment that he realizes the real freedom lies in a virtuous life. He is taken into the confinement. So in this way today we have discussed about a lesson, the cop and the anthem. It is a very important lesson from the examination point of view also. So we should study it very well. Thank you very much.